Last week, my friend Jeannie was hosting a professional Brawl Stars tournament. The grand prize was $5,000 and this rare pin that you can only get from winning one of these tournaments. But how did I end up competing for this? Well, long story short, a day before the tournament was supposed to start, someone dropped out. And out of pure desperation, Jeannie reached out and extended me an invite. Without skipping a beat, I said I'd be there. Not only for the content, but to win the whole thing. I don't know who I'm filling in for, but what I do know is that teams for the tournament were decided a while ago via a draft system, and that everyone here is either a pro or personally invited by Genie himself. TLDR, it's mostly pros and a handful of YouTubers in here. I also know that my teammates are gods amongst men. First, we've got Zulon, a multi-champion, one of the best players in the world, and I don't think I need to speak to his pedigree any more than that. And then we've got Vegeta, who prior to the tournament said that he used to snipe me in my Power League streams and troll me. I don't hold any grudges, so we're all square. Vegeta is also a very, very good professional player, don't get me wrong. And so now that introductions are out of the way, let me explain how our preparation for this tournament went. We actually didn't hop into a call until after the tournament had already started. No prep, no chat about playstyles or potential draft strategies. We didn't even play any matches together beforehand. Nothing. We went in completely cold. Anyway, I'll explain how the matches work as well. Each one is a best of 5 series of Brawl, Heist, Hot Zone, Gem Grab, and Knockout. Win 3 of those and you move on to the next round, plain and simple. For our first match of the tournament, we were pitted up against a team consisting of Pain, Ducky, and none other than OJ. Up first, we've got a game of Brawl Ball on sneaky fields. Obviously, the pros know the most, so drafting was all depending on them. I never realized how much these guys know about the game until Vegeta called out exactly what they were gonna pick.
Hey, Max Frank, we can go like Amber Surge, and I think we'll be good.
Yeah, it's not exactly accurate, but Ash is still a tank, and so he was already planning to take a tank counter before they even made their first pick. It's thinking like this that really is impressive. After that, the draft finishes up, and we've got a team of Juju, Maisie, and Frank versus Surge, Max, and Ash. And right away, we found ourselves pinned in the back of our spawn. But thanks to this heads-up play from Zulon to clear the ball, we were able to stabilize. Then Vegeta picks up this clutch kill right here, allowing us to push up and take control of the map. After that, Zulon just went blammo mode, picked up 2 kills, and secured us our first goal of the tournament. I'm not gonna lie, it felt good to be in the lead, but the match was far from finished. With just 30 seconds left on the clock, they sent everything at us. Max Hypercharge lets them push up, Surge Hypercharge takes me down, and Ash Hypercharge takes down Zulon. We were down to our last player alive, but Vegeta doesn't flinch. Vegeta doesn't fold. He stands on his head and single-handedly prevents them from scoring. After a bit more defense from the boys, we secured our first win of the tourney. However, we do have to win one more in order to claim the map. It's a best of 3 inside of a best of 5. It's a little confusing, but just bear with me. Winning that first match gave me a lot of confidence heading into game 2, which started out almost the exact same as game 1. We were quickly pinned on our spawn, just waiting for an opportunity to push out. Unfortunately, that wouldn't come, and despite Zulon's best efforts to clear the ball, we end up conceding and going down 1-0. With the walls being broken, Surge being at tier 3, and the Ash unleashing his hypercharge, there wasn't much we could do to defend, and they end up scoring again, winning match number 2. Our first match of the tourney all comes down to round 3, where Vegeta gave me solid advice.
I think you can like move up a little more against the Surge. Like,
Okay,
you shouldn't be able to like push up behind our like 1x2 wall there.
Okay. This is a prime example as to why I'm grateful to have these guys as my teammates. They were super nice and actually taught me things and helped me play better. Vegeta also makes videos about pro matches and high-level gameplay, so if you guys want to learn a thing or two, check out his channel right here. Anyway, believe it or not, his advice actually worked, and we were able to trap the Surge and take him down pretty quick. Doing this allowed us to pin them back in the spawn for the first time in a while. And with a huge super from Zulon and a little bit of ball movement from me, we took a commanding 1-0 lead. Man, being ahead just feels so much better than playing from behind. It wasn't long before our opposition went on the attack again, but Vegeta and I, mostly Vegeta, clutch up on defense once again. Maisie was such a good pick, like I can't emphasize enough how big she was for us when it came to defending. We would have been screwed without her, plain and simple. And speaking of defending, with 15 seconds left, they once again throw everything at us. They all pop hypercharge and super at the same time, and I've never been so scared in my life. They put it all on the line, desperately trying to tie this game up. No way! You guys are so good, boys. Come on!
Nice, Vegeta.
Alright, GG's.
Nice. Good job, guys. Thanks for the pointers, man. But they seem to have forgotten that we have Vegeta on our team. Securing that win right there was a massive boost of confidence for me. It shows that I can hang with these guys. The heist map that we have to play is Hot Potato. Frankly, it's a map that I haven't seen or played on in quite a long time. But thankfully, my teammates cooked up a good plan, and that was to take aggressive brawlers. And so then we banned Maisie, Nita, and Cordelius, 3 big counters to those aggro brawlers. They take Melody, we take Buzz and Amber, they counter with Rico and Juju, and with our final pick, we take Edgar. I'm not kidding. We wanted aggressive, and we certainly got it. Now right away, we bring the heat.
No pun intended, by the way.
But we secure some kills, and we get a decent amount of vault damage done. I do make a few mistakes on this map, and the first one happens right there. Vegeta was telling me to get on the vault. I thought he was just saying to attack it, but then he reminded me of Amber's spinny gadget. You kind of just walk in a circle around the vault like Melody, and it does a lot of damage. And it completely slipped my mind, so certainly a lesson learned there. A lesson that I would put into action fast. After Zulon pops hypercharge and takes out the Melody, who also has her hypercharge popped, I take down OJ, and it was time for me to do what I was supposed to do the first time. Except I run directly on top of the vault and pop the gadget, completely forgetting that that isn't a thing anymore. You used to be able to stand directly on top of someone, use the gadget, and it would do over 6,000 damage. But that was removed from the game. Had I used this gadget right, we would have ended the match right there. But hey, all you can do is learn from mistakes and keep going forward. Shortly after that, we finished the remaining 6%, and it was on to match number 2. This match was way more back and forth. After OJ takes out Vegeta and Pain takes out Zulon, I go down as well, and they begin to unload on our vault. Hypercharge Melody and Juju combined to do almost 30%, and we were on the back foot for the very first time. We were down, but definitely not out yet. A big hypercharge from Zulon opens up the map, giving us an opportunity to punish them. I finally get the gadget right, and Vegeta clobbers away at the vault, bringing them down to 43%. You guys saw how fast they were able to do 30% to us before, especially with Melody. We were not in the clear yet. Speaking of the devil, she gets in with 8 notes spinning around her, and our vault was quickly withering away. We push up the map with just 3% remaining, but Melody sneaks by us and finishes the job, bringing us to match 3 once again. In this one, both teams were on their A game here. Neither of us wanted to stretch too far and make a mistake. The game remained tied until around the 1 minute and 20 second mark. They'd open up with a Rico super to clear the middle and a hypercharge Melody as the cavalry. We keep them at bay, but this key interaction happens on the left side of the map. Edgar jumps on Melody, who perfectly times a shield gadget to eat that damage and then stays alive with just a sliver of HP left. That single play prevents us from being able to push up on the map because we can't just leave her back there. Eventually, we do clear them out, and we were able to take control of the entire middle part of the map. With the clock counting down, game tied, and the map on the line, we leave it all out there. Zulon supers in, Vegeta supers in, I'm spamming my shots, we get a team wipe and annihilate their vault, bringing them down to 33%. All we had to do was defend. But with 10 seconds left, they all come screaming down the middle of the map. Supers left, right, and center. I'm just auto-aiming. I don't even know what's going on anymore. But somehow, some way, when it's all said and done and the timer hits 0, we emerge victorious, bringing us to match point. The next map was Hot Zone on Open Business. They take Stu with the first pick, and then we take Poco because he counters Lou. And then we also take Kenji, who Stu is going to have a very hard time dealing with. They once again take Melody, and then they pick up Maisie as well. And looking at all of this, Zulon comes up with a god tier pick, Tara. All of them are single target shooters, and now that Tara has unlimited gadgets, all I had to do was spam my clones down all game. What a great draft from my team, and it showed in the match. Now, I wanted this to be a huge close battle, but they just didn't have anything to deal with Kenji, and with my clones haunting them all game, there wasn't much they could do. We win the first match 100-7, and I'll put my one highlight in here because that's really all that I did.
Sir, Connor. Sir.
You see me? And then we also win game 2, 100-7, thus securing a first round victory for us. I don't know what I expected out of this tournament, but I do know that winning certainly feels good. While we were waiting for our second round match, we sat back and watched all of the other matches, and unfortunately for Genie, Wasim's team also lost in the first round. 2 out of the 4 YouTubers that he was hoping to make a run were already out, and it was just me and Super Lab that remained. When all the dust settles, our second round opponent is a team comprised of Hey Guys, RBM, and Tacos. Their first round opponent just didn't even show up, so this would be their very first match of the tournament, which is good news for us because we were already warmed up and locked in. We also get lucky in the fact that our first map is once again a Brawl Ball match on Sneaky Fields. Having just played it, it's still fresh in our minds, and heading into the draft, we knew exactly what they wanted to do. RBM is one of the best tank players in the entire world, but he's especially known for playing Ashe. So much so that they used all of their bans to get rid of 3 of the biggest Ashe counters, and they even used their first pick to draft Nita. We then respond by taking Rico. After a bit of a discussion about our next pick, Vegeta mentioned something unthinkable.
If we Ashe, what are they going?
I think they'll go Stu Buzz. But yeah, they'll definitely go like Byron Buzz or Stu Buzz.
It's like a free buzz though, so I don't like that. But I'm not sure.
We can go Spike.
Rico can also play lane. We could also go Maisie mid and have Rico lane. Sounds pretty good if they go Buzz.
And sure enough, they instantly take Buzz and then they take Poco as well. It's not the Byron that Zulon predicted, but he knew they were going to go with a healer. Again, it's pretty wild that they know exactly how things are going to play out sometimes. We follow up with a Maisie pick to complete our team, and it was time for the second round to start. Now my lane, pretty easy. I just have to spam shots downrange and prevent this Nita from pushing up. Easy enough. Meanwhile, Zulon is literally fighting for his life every second of the match on the left side. Eventually, he falls, giving RBM a chance to score. However, me and Vegeta had other plans as we combined to once again come up big on defense. After I corner the ball, our opponents get a little kill hungry. They overextend, leading us to take down all 3 of them within a few seconds. We take full control of the map, and then Vegeta makes the Tropicana play of the day, chaining together not 1, not 2, but 3 hypercharge supers, team wiping them and getting us the 1-0 lead. The match progresses on, and with about 30 seconds left, we unleash our demons on them, and they really just had no answer, thus winning us our first game. Now, game 2 was a bit of a different story. Our opponents make the right adjustments, and they take Zulon down pretty quick, which ultimately leads to them scoring. Definitely not a great way to start. And things would go from bad to worse for us, with RBM just going nuclear, taking us out, and burying any hopes we had of winning game 2. However, game 3s are a familiar territory for us. This time, we make the adjustments. I went to the middle, and Vegeta takes on Buzz in the lane. Doing this forces the Buzz out, and we were able to catch the Poco out of position. After that, the dominoes start to fall, and I steal Zulon's goal, giving us the lead once again. We then go back to the same opening as before, completely throwing off our opponents as they try to swap lanes and counter us. This puts us in a great spot. Vegeta goes blammo mode with Maisie hypercharge once again, I clip the Buzz with a super, and Zulon takes down Nita. All of that will seal match number 1 in our favor. It's like each match we win gives me more and more confidence heading into the next one. Hey, real quick, before the next match starts, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would consider subscribing to the channel. It helps out a lot, like a lot. And some of you guys might not even know that you're not subscribed because my videos just get recommended to you all the time. Okay, that's it, thank you. Our next map is a game of Heist on Hot Potato. We knew that we wanted to play aggressive brawlers here, so we banned a few that counter them. We then open the draft by picking Amber. She's good into almost anything that they could take. They respond with a Rico pick as well as Cordelius, who, interestingly enough, counters every aggressive brawler that you can think of. Looking back, I'm really not sure why we didn't ban him, but hindsight's 2020, huh? Despite that, we still lock in the Buzz pick, and we also go with Juju, someone that I don't have a lot of experience playing, if I'm honest. They conclude the draft with a bold Daryl pick, and game 2 was about to begin. Right away, things go sour for us. Vegeta goes down, Daryl rolls over me to take me out, and when it's all said and done, they do about 30% to our safe. It's not the start that we wanted, but it's the start that we got. In the midst of Zulon dealing with a Cordelius behind us, I managed to Tom Brady a Juju shot to take down the Rico. This opens up the middle of the map for Vegeta to sneak in and do a casual 51% to their safe, giving us a small lead, which really wouldn't last long thanks to Rico and Daryl hypercharge doing serious damage to our vault, once again putting us on the back foot. I ice up to take down the Cordelius, but not before he brings us down to just 4% remaining. While that's going on, Zulon and Vegeta end up trading vault damage, and they bring them down to 22%. The match continues, time is counting down, and Daryl is rolling in. By the skin of my teeth, I make a clutch play to take him out. But all for naught, because Cordelius would just use his Shadow Realm to slip by and finish the job, winning them map number 1. It was clear that this was winnable for us, so we were still hopeful. I mentioned earlier how good RBM is on tanks, and here I am, trying my best to deal with him in the lane. It's not exactly easy, okay? Despite my best efforts, he's still able to do about 21% to our vault. But Zulon ends up doing about 24% to theirs, so it's not all bad. A little bit of time passes and Zulon dives in with Hypercharge, but Daryl slips by with his roll. Vegeta and I swiftly handle it, and with the game about even, we looked to push up the map. However, that gets thwarted with Daryl rolling in and Cordelius aiding him. They make quick work of us and melt our vault into nothing, causing us to lose our very first match of the tournament. This was a reality check for me, because up until this point, I thought we were untouchable. We took that loss on the chin and mentally prepared for Game 3, a hot zone match on open business. We start off by taking Stu, an incredibly versatile brawler that's really hard to counter. Surprisingly, they take Ollie and Gray, and right away, Zulon suggests Griff. The idea here was to 1, open the map up as much as possible, and 2, be able to blast them with a super if they decide to all portal to the middle at the same time. Having mastered Griff a little bit ago, I was confident in playing him. Anyway, we then complete our team by taking Frank. Their comp has low damage as it is, and his stun resist gadget hard counters the Ollie. They finished things up by taking B, and the stage was set. And as predicted, the Ollie couldn't do anything versus a Frank. We win all of our opening interactions, and our lead skyrockets. They simply just don't have any answers for our team. In Game 2, they make some adjustments and win the opening exchange this time. But thanks to Zulon being an absolute Chad Frank player, we wipe them off the board and seize control of the map. I'm gonna be honest, I was popping off in this game, picking up kills, chaining supers, doing damage across the board. I was frying here, and as a result, we take the map, and I even got star player.
Nice, bro.
Damn, Connor.
Yeah, you know, it's just what it is, boys. It's just what it is. We don't talk about it. It's cool.
It's another day at the office.
What we call this is regular, you know? After that, it was on to match point for us. We win, and we move on to the next round. We lose, and we go to a 5th set. Coming up is a gem grab match on last stop. Once again, we take Stu with our first pick. Our opponents then take Lola and Otis, 2 long-range brawlers that are pretty tough to play against. We lock in Gus, and to round out our comp, we take Pearl. They close things out by taking Squeak. Undoubtedly some weird comps here, but I trust in my teammates to guide us in the right direction. When the game starts, Zulon gets taken out right away. But as I battle with RBM, Vegeta takes out the Lola. The start of this game is just pure chaos. After being forced to swap lanes, things really start to go downhill. I immediately get silenced by the Otis and lose my lane. Then Vegeta goes down and they build a massive lead on us. We do manage to fight back, but Lola sneaks into the middle using her pet as a shield, grabs the 10th gem, and they take game number 1. Game 2 was 100% gonna be an uphill battle. This time, I decide to play things more patient. I let my shield build up, and then I storm the left lane. We push them back and actually start to build a small lead. Everything was going great, up until we staggered a few deaths in a row. This gives them full control of the gem mine, and they held on to that control until they got the 10 gems they needed. They drop back, and they win the match. Their comp was just better than ours, forcing us to go to a Game 5, a knockout match on Bell's Rock. Anyway, this was it. Win and move on to the next round, or lose and get eliminated. It was right around this time that I started to develop a sinister headache. During the draft here, you can just see how much I was massaging my temples trying to make it better. Anyway, they open things up by taking Jean. We take Piper, who's a pretty standard pick. And then we take RT to hopefully avoid any tanks being played here. And you can't ever really use a gene pool on an RT because you're just going to get deleted. They then take Sprout and Mandy, and we needed a thrower, so Grom it is. And that concludes the draft. So with our tournament on the line, we head into Game 5. Right off the rip, Vegeta goes Super Saiyan. No pun intended there, I just realized what I wrote. But anyway, he flavor blasts the Mandy out of existence. Believe it or not, with no ranged brawlers and not a lot of DPS, there isn't much to be done in a 3v2, and so we win the first round. However, round 2 is a completely different story. They now have Jean's pull that we have to be wary of. Mandy then swaps lanes with Jean, and Sprout now has his wall up. We were playing a completely different game. We were at a standstill for a bit, just poking and trading damage back and forth. You know, exactly how Knockout goes. But thanks to Sprout landing a few shots and using his hypercharge, they take me down and ultimately wipe our team off the planet, forcing this to a round 3. Really, what this game has evolved into is us constantly swapping lanes. We want Piper versus Mandy, and Gene versus me so that he can't pull me. And then Grom just has to go wherever the Sprout puts his wall up. It's a constant battle of getting the right matchup, preventing your opponents from swapping lanes, and poking damage. Lucky for us, Taco overextends and Zulon quickly punishes him, giving us the advantage. Gene unleashes his pull on me, but with cat-like reflexes, I use my super and bring it to an unwinnable 3v1, which inevitably wins us the match. We just have to do all of that one more time to advance to round 3. The battle of swapping and dancing around picks up right where it left off. In the midst of things, Zulon gets caught rotating and goes down because of it. After that, they just pushed up and wiped us off the board. The dance goes on, and eventually, Vegeta makes this god tier play with his hypercharge, putting us in a great spot. I take down the Gene, and then Sprout falls, forcing this to round 3 yet again. Right at the start, I get slowed by the Mandy, and she instantly followed up with a super,
which combined to bring me down to 488 health.
When I saw that shot coming, I've never been more terrified of anything in my life. Lucky enough, we lived to see another lane swap, because that's all it felt like we were doing at this point. The match goes on, and the gas was closing in, pressure mounting. We were pushed all the way back. In the face of a challenge, we don't run. Calm, cool, and collected, Zulon Kobe's a legendary Grom shot that knocks the Mandy right into Vegeta's path. And a guy like him isn't gonna miss that. We make it a 3v2, but the job wasn't quite finished yet. Zulon goes down to 1400 HP, but with some fancy footwork and a bit of patience, we survive and win the map. I popped my thing a little early, but
Got him.
nice, should be GG's.
Run him.
Nice! Come on, boys!
Nice.
God, I never thought I would have been saying that, but here we are. I feel like I had already learned so much from this experience, but the job's not done yet. While we were waiting for our next match, I tried to do everything that I can to shake this headache, but nothing seemed to work. It's not going to stop me from playing, but it's just annoying to deal with. Anyway, after a little bit, our next opponents were revealed to us. Their team is made up of Snoy, Eslivy, and 8-9, aka Jimmy. Starting things off, we got another match on Sneaky Fields. I don't know if everyone else also played this map in every round before this, but we were well practiced on it, so that's fine. They used their first pick to take Stu. I'll keep saying it, but he's an amazing first pick. Vegeta then has a Brain Blast and picks Poco. Stu's damage isn't great, so if we have healing, it can render him useless. Having Poco makes us weak to tanks. So I take Nita as a countermeasure for tanks and for Stu. After that, they take Rico for some DPS and finish off with Larry and Laurie. And then Zulon has an even bigger Brain Blast. With the final pick, he takes Frank. Not only do our opponents have pretty low DPS overall, but Frank's ability to break the walls will render Larry useless. Overall, we were really happy with the draft. Our plan worked to perfection. We instantly seized control of the map because they just didn't have enough damage to push us back. And that leads up to this crazy play. Oh my god, nah! We continued using our run it down strategy. They simply can't do anything about it, and we score once again, getting us the win. Again, you guys see how important the drafts are now. If we don't take Frank, we'd have an entirely different match on our hands. In game 2, we try the same thing, but unfortunately, we get full clipped by the Rico and 2 of us die. That causes us to get pinned back on our spawn. However, after a bit of an overextension from Eslivy, we get an opening. We take him down, and Zulon creates space for our team to get to work. He pops Hypercharge, supers in all directions, breaks Eslivy's ankles, and puts us in the lead. We just needed one more goal for us to secure the set, but they had other plans. Zulon goes down, and Snoy makes a heads-up play as Stu to get the ball and super it forward. It completely catches me out of position, and Jimmy was able to score. Tough, but it wasn't all bad because I finally got my bear. Combine that with my hypercharge, and Bruce was running wild. Eventually, things calm down and the match progresses. Later on, we're having a full-on team fight in the middle of the map, which will ultimately decide who will go on to have a chance to win the map. It was at this point in the match that I remembered that my friends and family were watching. I sent them the link to the stream, and I haven't checked my phone in a few hours. But all of a sudden, it started blowing up with a bunch of texts from all of my friends. But instead of folding like an omelet, I think about all of my friends and family that are watching, and I see an opportunity to make a play.
Nice, Holy Frank. And then get Zulon killed here, they can move up and maybe score Good Poco, screeching solo on this Livian Snowy, kept him low. Connor's moving up. Holy Connor! Holy Connor! Oh my god, Connor's him. Connor's him. McDee's is him! He is him! Bro is him! Holy double kill to get set 1. Oh my god. No, Connor got the ice. Connor got the ice.
Being able to pull that off just felt incredible. There was a handful of people in the chat that were non-stop mentioning that I was getting carried. Like, yeah, I'm playing with 2 people that play this game at the highest level possible. Obviously, I'm gonna get carried. But being able to make that play right there and pull my own weight for just a little bit was good enough for me. We were on to set number 2, a heist map on Kaboom Canyon. Right off the rip, we take Angelo. He pumps an insane amount of damage, plus he has the range and can fly over the water. He's just an amazing brawler for us to be able to get. They follow up with Amber and Belle to combat that just a tiny bit, and we knew that with Angelo, we were going to be able to find kills. So we then take Colette in order for us to be able to get damage onto the vault. And we follow it up by picking 8-Bit, just a solid brawler overall. He offers a lot with range and control. They end things out by taking Eve. I guess the idea is that her pickles are going to be a way to counter me, and she can fly over the water and get to the middle. I don't know. But because I'm playing Colette, there's a lot of pressure on me. I have to be the one pushing up and securing damage for us. I am actually the win condition. I'm not gonna lie, I've whiffed a lot of Colette supers in my day, so I needed to lock in here. When you look at this map, it's all about control and patience. Neither team wants to extend too far or retreat enough to give the other team space. And speaking of patience, I managed to die twice while I was trying to farm up my super, but that's not really a big deal. Eventually though, they take me and Zulon out, securing 21% damage onto our vault, which all things considered, isn't that bad. If they had more DPS, it could have been way worse. With 30 seconds left, we were still losing. However, I combined with Zulon to find 2 kills and get a super onto the vault. The clock continued to count down and we still had some work to do. As we were going into the final 10 seconds, Vegeta just sends it. He hits a huge clip onto the vault and I follow up with a hypercharged super, closing out game 1 in our favor. I did exactly what I needed to do, and I felt pretty good about that. I might not be picking up a ton of kills, but I'm playing my role to the best of my ability. Plus, kills don't really matter if they don't help you win the game. Anyway, game 2 starts out a little bit rough for us. We get pushed back right away, and they manage to get about 21% damage done to our vault. This time, I get my hypercharge and super very early on, and that gets us a fat chunk of damage on our own, and we now had a small lead. And then I make a crucial mistake that I don't mind showing you guys here. I'm in the midst of getting ran down by an Amber, and for whatever reason in my head, I thought I could use my super to take her out, and I just completely waste it. Definitely not the play to make, and it's stuff like that that could really cost you the game. Lucky for me, I've got gods as my teammates, and they clean up my mess. Our defense stands tall and we win the second set. It felt so close, yet so far all at the same time. Meanwhile, my headache was mounting and nothing I do seemed to fix it, but I had to keep playing. And next up was a hot zone match on Ring of Fire. With their first pick, they take probably the single best brawler for this map and hot zone in general, Lou. His super alone is enough to give people nightmares. We counter this by taking Poco. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but his anti-stun gadget cleanses Lou's freeze and prevents people from being frozen. You know,
From his hypercharge?
we then take Stu to get some aggression on our team. They follow up with B and Kenji. B is a standard, but our DPS is pretty low, so Kenji will undoubtedly be annoying. We end up taking Buster as our final pick. Our plan was to ditch the traditional 3-lane split, and we were all gonna play in the middle. Things start off about even until the Lou supers start raining in and Kenji starts terrorizing us. Because of that, they build up a bit of a lead. Eventually, we make enough space and survive just long enough to take a small lead. But once again, the Lou supers remain an issue. It was here that we just needed 6% to win. 6 more percent. But with the Lou super down and the B hitting 4K shots left and right, we get melted on our push out and we lose the first map. Game 2 starts off about the same. We take initial control, and once Lou gets his super going, they push us back. But this go around, I have way better timings with my gadgets, and I'm actually able to negate the Lou supers almost entirely. Meanwhile, Kenji still remains a thorn in our side, but overall, we were able to build up a pretty big lead. Even when a game seems over, it's never exactly over. But thanks to Buster pushing them back, we storm the middle and bring it to match point. Game 3, believe it or not, starts off the exact same. We take control, Lu super goes down, they take control, and the dance continues. But this time, Kenji really pops off. I mean, we just cannot kill this guy. He's terrorizing us in our spawn, and Lu supers are constantly coming down, so we can't get out. And things really got out of hand fast. We do muster up a bit of gusto and close the gap just a little bit, but overall, the Kenji remains too much for us and they take set 3. That one was frustrating because it was so winnable. We just needed 6% in that first match and we would have been on to the grand finals already. Nevertheless, we've got set 4 coming up, a gem grab match on Hard Rock Mine. Once again, they get the first pick and they lock in Janet. Stu was banned and she's kinda in that same ballpark where she's a brawler that is really difficult to counter. After that, we take Gus and then do something unorthodox and we take Colonel Ruffs. He's like Walmart Rico on this map, because if we took Rico, we'd be open to getting countered by Buzz, which they end up taking anyway. They follow things up with a Sandy pick. And with all of that info, we take Surge. Starting off, I'm in the lane with Buzz. Basically, I just have to sit back and not let him hit a gadget on me, and we're good. Meanwhile, Zulon on the left is trying his hardest to farm a super, while simultaneously not giving Sandy his super either. It's a headache of an engagement. Eventually, Buzz does find his way into our grass, but we quickly snuff him out. While this might have looked like an awful play, it made Vegeta have to back up, and that allows Janet to push up and take a few gems. Their lead was already starting to build. Vegeta hits some shots, making the Janet have to back up. And then Buzz tries to once again apply pressure, but I clip him and I take him out. We were still down by a few gems, but we had full control, and Zulon even got his second tier, so things were looking good. We eventually find elims on all of them, stealing their gems and securing a pretty easy first match. But Game 2 is where things go awry. Right away, you guys can see here that Vegeta was kind of lagging and stutter stepping. He was freaking out about something. I'm not sure what it was at the time, but it does sort itself out. However, those few crucial seconds that we miss out on allows them to take full position on us and build a pretty decent lead. Again, we take out the Buzz and finally get things going for us. Everything was going smoothly. It was a battle for control that neither of us could afford to lose. And then Snoy makes a pretty insane play, hooking onto me and taking me down. But we do trade him out, so it's not that bad. After that, Zulon petitions for us to swap lanes. But Snoy sees this coming, so he swaps as well and instantly hooks onto me again and takes me out. Buzz was now in our grass wreaking havoc. This puts Vegeta in a weird spot, and then unfortunately, Zulon goes down. Then a sandstorm goes down and they get the 10th gem, ultimately bringing it to match point. Now in Game 3, Vegeta suffers from the same lag at the start, and you can clearly see how big of an issue this is. Their Janet is already in the middle of the map while he's still in the grass on our side. We were totally out of position. I end up using a gadget to force her out, but them getting the first 2 gems is rough. No pun intended there. But after getting through that, we team up on the Buzz again and the match goes on about as normal as the other ones. Unfortunately for us, Snoy sneaks through once again and begins to harass us in our spawn. It's an incredibly tough position to play from. Jimmy throws down a sandstorm, but I see right through it and I'm able to get the kill. And then their Janet was weak, but Zulon gives me this calm.
That guy's low. They're both low. Nice go. Is Louise low in the pocket left?
Try to push up.
I can take that hypercharge thing.
For me, I didn't hear any urgency, and so I thought she was kind of weak, maybe low on HP. I didn't realize that she was only at 200 HP. I do try to put some pressure on, but I die in the process. Immediately after coming out of spawn again, you guys can
Probably guess what happened.
Buzz hypercharges onto me, but this time I was able to use my super to pick up the kill without dying. But at that point, the damage was already done, because Snoy doing that once again allows Aslivy to push up to get the 10th gem and start the countdown. We do our best to push in and desperately try to get a reset, but we quickly see that Janet has fly, and that means it's GG. We're going to set 5 for the ultimate match point. Now, here's a little bit of tea. We wouldn't find this out until later on, but Vegeta's lag was from someone spam calling him on Discord over and over right at the start of both of those matches. His teammate just wanted to know if they had to scrim tonight, but this guy was also in the tourney and should have known we were playing. It's just disappointing to see how much of an impact that this had on 2 of those 3 matches. Had that not happened, maybe we have a different story. Regardless, we were heading to a knockout match on Out in the Open. One final set to decide who will make grand finals. It calls for some weird picks. Like, you either need a water brawler or a brawler that breaks walls so you aren't completely funneled to the one side. With Angelo, the best water brawler, being banned, the first pick was kind of obvious. The best brawler with an instant wall break is Brock, so it makes sense that they would take him. We then take Piper, who's got a wall break of her own, but it just takes a bit of time to get to. And she plays well versus Brock. And then we take Eve, so that we have our
Water Brawler.
Juju was open, but they have Brock, so Eve it is. After that, they pick Buster and Gus, who as Livy is known for playing. We finish out our comp with Squeak, and we were ready for match point to begin. Right away, we start exchanging shots back and forth. But a bit of a misplay from Snowy allows us to get the first kill. All we had to do from here was play patient, not feed supers, and there's the first round win. This time, they play way more passive, and it becomes more of a normal knockout match. My job is to prevent them from pushing up on the left, and I get my super in the process. Something that you guys need to know is that these pro knockout matches don't usually begin until the smoke starts closing in. I unleash my pickles, Buster uses a shield, Piper uses hypercharge, everything is moving now, firing on all cylinders. Buster with a Gus shield manages to take out Zulon. We trade him out, I take down Brock, and it's a hectic 2v1 in the end. But as Livy takes out Vegeta and gets his big shot in the process, he instantly deletes me with the shot and gadget combination. Map 1 would have to be solved in round 3. These rounds are a true battle of patience. That is, until Vegeta taps Jimmy and Zoo follows him up with a big squeak shot. But as Livy comes in the clutch to throw a shield on him to keep him alive, Zulon opens the action with a hypercharged squeak super that would literally send chills down your spine. He takes down as Livy with it, and with the upper hand from here on out, all we have to do is not suck, and we manage to secure map number 1. But hey, that's not my problem.
You played good though.
Yeah, you didn't.
Oh, it spread and caught him as soon as he went around the
Wait, how did
corner.
that hyper
Oh
kill?
my god, that's
I know,
unbelievable. Match 2 is a lot of the same. Sit back, poke your shots, farm your super, and wait for someone to make a mistake. Unfortunately, that someone would be us. Vegeta calls to swap with me to try and make a play on the Brock, but he misses the curved shot. And then Buster uses his shield to force us back. And while it ends up being close, they win the first round. At this point, I was getting close to my hypercharged pickles, which is massive for us. Eventually, I got it, and I use it right before the gas comes in so we can take control. But that doesn't exactly go according to plan. And then Vegeta narrowly escapes death, but they overwhelm us and it's GG. We're going to a double match point. The winner of this moves on to the grand finals. And Vegeta hones in like a bloodhound and takes down Brock. That's exactly the start that we needed. At this point, the rounds are usually over, but our opponents want to farm supers and we do too, so it's not all bad. But things turn sour when they apply those supers and Buster walks in with a shield on. He takes out Zulon, I fall to Livy, and Gus just wins versus Piper here. It feels so bad losing a 2v3, but we had to quickly shake that one off. This is it. We have to win this round and the next one, otherwise we're done. I continue to keep them at bay on the left side. Zulon keeps using Squeak's long gadget to do damage, and overall, we force them back. Once I used my pickle factory, it was all but over. Triple match point is here. The absolute last round, no matter what. Now, something important happened right there. Something key to note here is that we destroyed their entire bush. All of their cover that they can hide in is gone. It's small details like this that can ultimately decide a map. They have nowhere to hide and wait for us. And because of this, we gain full control of the map. And we even find the first kill of the round pretty fast. Especially on Livy, you love to see it. But we learned from earlier that 2v3s are never certain.
Boy. Oh my gosh, Squeak Hyper. Livy's dead! Livy's dead! Livy's dead! Oh my god, he's so... Livy's dead! Oh my god!
All we had to do now was not suck. Actually, I'll let Genie commentate the rest of this.
Dead! That carries is dead! He's dead! He's not respawning! It's knockout! Snowy with the gadget. Jimmy's tapping. He's looking for an opening. But there's just no opening there in the corner. They're trapped. There's nowhere to go. He's tapped and it's over.
Nice, boys! Come on!
Nice.
Let's go!
Fucking go, baby.
I didn't do anything that
Let's go.
game! Grand finals bound, who else but us, really? Undeniably, it feels great, but the job's not finished. I told you guys from the start, I was coming here to win the whole thing. Unfortunately, we did have to wait an hour and a half for the other semi-final match to be played, and then the third place match to be played. While all of that was going on, I was sitting on my couch with a bag of frozen vegetables on my head, trying to shake this headache. Fast forward an hour and the grand finals are here, and we were put up against a demon squad. Their team is made up of Solar, who is a former pro, Alec26, a longtime friend of mine and also a former pro, and then the Grim Grim Reaper himself, Killer17. He's also a former pro, but now he's the coach for Tribe Gaming. What makes this guy so scary is that he's known for being one of the best drafters in the world. It sounds silly, but he's creative. He's not afraid to take risks, and he comes up with some pretty crazy team comps. It's no surprise that the team he coaches is also one of the best teams in the world. This guy is a menace. It was the team that he coaches that Vegeta lost to in the monthly finals, and his drafts have beaten Vegeta more times than he can count. They've got a stacked team with world-class drafts. The odds were definitely not in our favor. You know, cause we got 2 pros and 1 YouTuber. For the first match, we've got Brawl on Triple Dribble, a map that we haven't played yet. And the draft goes a little bit like this. They give us Hank with the first pick, which is also new territory for us. They counter pick with Surge and Amber. We then follow up with Berry to form a diabolical Hank and Berry comp. And then we finish by taking Stu to hopefully stop them from taking a thrower. However, they go Barley anyway, and it was time for the grand finals to start. My role heading into this match is to just keep everyone alive as long as I can. Sustainability is going to be our key here. Things open up pretty quick as Vegeta kills Amber and Barley, and then I take out the Surge. It's a full team wipe. We push up as fast as we can, and we really try to lock them down in the back. It was then that I decided to activate my hypercharge to try and make a play. I dive in, keeping Zulon alive, and I weaken almost everyone on the opposing team, and then Vegeta seals the goal for us, and we were up 1-0 just like that. Moving forward, we just corner the ball and hunker down until we can find some eliminations. Somehow, some way at this point, Surge is still at tier 1. And to be honest, if we just keep him there isn't much that he can do. They try their best to push in, but after this god tier play from me, game 1 was set and done. Grand finals, winning the first map? It feels great, I'm gonna be honest. However, our opponents weren't exactly content with that, and they have a way better opening in game 2. Despite my best efforts to defend here, nothing can be done and they score. Something to note is that Surge already found his way to tier 2, and they quickly put us in a trap. It was really well played from them. Their carnage ensues, and they score the second goal, bringing this set to match point. The key factor here is the Surge. If Solar gets his tier 2 a little too fast in this one, it could really make things hard for us. And as good players do, he begins popping off, and once again, they're able to push us all the way back. Between the Amber Fire, Barley Supers, and Surge shots raining in, we were on a sinking ship. And eventually, they find their way to the back of the net, taking a 1-0 lead. The match goes on, and we find a bit of an opening. Zulon finds the kills onto Killer and Solar, and Vegeta unleashes his hypercharge to find a kill onto Alec. At this point, there's just under a minute left, and we have a golden opportunity to make something happen. But after he respawns, Solar makes a huge play. He runs up just to grab the ball before we can, and he corners it. And with 15 seconds left and Barley using his hypercharge, there wasn't much we could do to salvage that. And our opponents end up winning the first set. For us to win the first match and then losing 2 in a row is not a good feeling. It's one thing to lose 2-0, but to feel like it's actually winnable for a second and to realize what you could have done differently is devastating. But we've got more sets to play, so I couldn't mope for too long. Next up, we had a heist match on Hot Potato. This one we played a bunch by now, and we knew exactly what we wanted to take. More aggressive brawlers again. So we banned Maisie, Ollie, and Cordelius, who ruined our plans last time. We opened things up with Nita, as to avoid any pesky tanks that they can take. With their first pick, they pick Berry. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little weird. And here we knew something weird was about to go down, but we didn't know how weird it was gonna get. After that, they take Carl. We haven't seen him played here yet, but he doesn't exactly ruin our plans. We wanted Buzz, who does play well into Carl and Berry, so we took him. And finally, to finish our aggro comp, we take Edgar. And when I said things were gonna get weird, I mean that they take Doug. Yes, that Doug. The worst brawler in the game, Doug. I mentioned Killer was known for cooking up some weird comps, and here we are. The worst part about all of this is that it actually worked. Doug being healed by Berry while also healing himself is just crazy, okay? It's crazy. Zulon and Vegeta couldn't even get close to the Wiener Man, and really, they just straight up ran it down. Game 1 ends almost before it even starts. In Game 2, it was more of the same. They run right up the middle of the map. I mean, look at Vegeta. He tries to jump in and just gets deleted. Zulon tries to push, Vegeta tries to push, and they both get instantly blasted off of the map. Like, we literally couldn't do anything about this, and we lose Game 2. That right there is a really big blow to the morale of the team. Just losing to a Doug. I could feel the frustration for both of my teammates here. There was just nothing we could do, and it's just aggravating to say the least. But me, I like to look at it like we're not down 2-0 in the series. Each game is a completely new match. So next up, we've got Hot Zone on Ring of Fire. We wanted to take Lu here with our first pick, so we banned Poco. And of course, Killer knows this, and he bans Lu. Now, we take Juju with our first pick, and looking back on this, I'm really not sure how these two brawlers went unbanned or picked by either team so far, but they take Hank and instantly take Mr. P, two of the best brawlers in the game. It's just a weird draft from our team, okay? This is when we realize though that if we want to take down Killer, we need to do something weird. We need to do something out of the box. And that's when Zulon mentions that he's seen some pretty crazy meeple strategies here with his box gadget just being spammed in the middle of the map. 100% unorthodox, but we all agreed that it's our best chance to shake things up a little bit. So we take Meeple and Maisie. They end things out by taking Leon, and set 3 was ready to start. We're actually able to handle Hank pretty quick, but Vegeta dies to Alec, and then Mr. P takes me out. After that, we were forced into an awful spawn trap. Hank was just sitting in our bush, and we really didn't have a way to get rid of him. We do our best to eventually get him out, but not before they build up a massive lead. So far, our strategy was just not working. We need control of the map if we wanted to implement what we wanted to do, which we do get to at some point. We saw glimmers of hope as we mount a comeback, but even that just gets put to bed after Alex sneaks in behind and picks up 2 kills. And then he picks up another 2-piece, and they go on to win the first map. Once again, it was match point and our backs were against the wall. This time, we organized a way better opening. Hank goes over to the left side for some reason, and Zulon is able to push up and get the box down. Overall, the game was tied at about 26 points, but things were looking really good for us. We take out Alec when he's behind us, and we get to push up once again. We were slowly building a lead, and Zulon gets another meeple box down. They team up to kill Hank, which is a huge relief for us, and then we end up taking out Alec once more. Zulon continues to spam the box down, completely preventing these guys from rotating or controlling the middle of the map at all. This was it. Our strategy was actually working. And we managed to win, forcing it to another game 3. The opening that we planned out and tried to use in game 2 was for me to use the invis gadget, walk on the water, and spam slowing shots at Hank so he can't get into our grass. Sure enough, Hank returns to my lane, and even with Juju's water slowing shot, he still barges his way into our grass. Anyway, things go from bad to worse for us as our whole team falls and they get set up once again. It's so difficult to push them out of here, especially with our comp. Our team was so good when we got control, but it was really difficult when they pushed us back and we had to get them out of our spawn. So we send Vegeta into the bush to take on the Hank, while Zulon uses his Meeple super to force the Leon backwards. Things go exactly according to plan, and we escape the prison that is our spawn. There's a little bit of hope, but it all comes crashing down when Hank uses his hypercharge to force us back once again. Slowly but surely, they were building up their lead here. But even after this insane double kill from Vegeta, and me taking out Alec, Hank and Mr. P come back to storm the middle. And just like that, our tournament was over. Although we got 3-0'd, 2 of those matches were actually winnable. The Doug and Heist match was just cooked from the start, okay? But overall, I had a great experience competing in this. Once again, shout out to my teammates for being legends and actually being helpful. It means a lot to me. Obviously, I'm not a pro nor the best player here, but I did everything I could. Also, shout out to Genie for tossing me an invite. You guys should subscribe to his channel right here. He's closing in on 100,000 subscribers. And thank you to all the admins for running the whole thing. But that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.